180-day loop, episode 11, down the Delaware. Good morning, Molly birds. It's 6:30 a.m. We're getting ready to do the long run down the Delaware Bay to Cape May. This one is tide and weather dependent. We've heard it can be a little dicey going into the Cape May Canal. So we're leaving early to catch the outgoing tide on, we hope, on the C&D Canal, and then also catch the outgoing tide, we hope, down the Delaware Bay, and we hope to get into Cape May early enough to beat the afternoon chop that typically occurs in these parts at this time of year, which, by the way, gets much worse later in the year. Anyway, off we go. So when you travel through the C&D into the Delaware, there's a bunch of stuff that you have to think about. There's these two bodies of water, the Chesapeake and the Delaware, and they're connected by this little canal, the C&D Canal, and it's tidal on both sides. So on the Delaware side, there's kind of a bigger tide, and on the Chesapeake side, it's smaller. And that means that the water flows really both directions in the C&D, and you never really know which it is. So next you have to think about the tidal effects in the Delaware. If the river's flowing into the ocean and the ocean tide is coming up, those two currents can interact and make taller waves. But if the current and the tide are both going in the same direction, then there's like little waves and you can travel very fast down the Delaware. But you also have to consider the wind. If it's coming from the northeast, it does one thing to the waves. If it's coming from the west, it does something else. If it's coming from the southeast, it does something else. Of course, we got out there and the C&D was just smooth as glass, all full of flotsam still, though. At first, we were traveling quite slowly. The current in the C&D Canal was against us, so we were only going about 5.5 miles per hour instead of our usual 8. We arrived at the Delaware River and there saw the first of many commercial vessels. The tide was still against us as we moved down the Delaware, but the seas remained almost as smooth as glass. We trudged on past the Salem nuclear power plant. The first unit was opened here in 1977, the second in 1981. Beautiful sailboat was one of the few other pleasure crafts we saw that day. Progress had seemed slow, and though we thought the tides had turned, we didn't seem to be getting any benefit, so Tom went ahead and revved the engine up. Our Navionics course plotter had us staying well to the port side of the shipping channel. When we saw these big monsters going by, we were really glad. This little old lighthouse bloomed out of the mist. It's the St. John Shoal Lighthouse, put in service in 1877. This channel marker had a busy population of cormorants. One flies in, another flies out. At last, we're beginning to see a speed boost from the tide. There's another monster, headed upriver for Philadelphia. Oh yeah, now we're feeling it. We've picked up almost 3 miles an hour because of the tide. And here we are, safely arrived at the mouth of the Cape May Canal. That's the Cape May Lewes Ferry over to our port.
Well, now we're definitely in New Jersey.
Yup, this Jersey girl's back in Jersey. Thanks for watching.